Hi guys, Ted Helsner, Sacramento Historical Fencing Academy. Just a quick little video today to talk specifically about Rucken that showed up in the fourth rule of the diagram video that we put up the other day. So a question came up on that video about where our interpretation of what Meyer means by that comes from, and whether or not there was good citations in the material or anywhere else for where we were getting our stuff from. Unfortunately, the number of times that Meyer uses the term is very little, right? He basically uses it twice in the rules. He uses it in the fourth rule, like I mentioned, and then there's a little poem that finishes off the rules of the diagram where he mentions it again. Our interpretation of what he's talking about there comes from really looking at the relationship in the language. And this is going to be something we might talk about more in the future. But there's a lot of stuff, especially in German, where we see terms appearing in couplets, right? Where there's two very related terms, sometimes only differing in a single letter, usually a vowel, that have an intimate relationship to them, often where one is a thing you do, another is the term for having something done to it. And in this case, our interpretation really started from looking at the relationship between Zucken and Rucken in the German material, and speaking to a couple of native German speakers, and really trying to wrap our head around what the difference between the two is, right? Where Zucken being a twitching or pulling action, but Rucken also being something that could be an action that sees kind of a twitch or pulling like motion occurring to it. Zucken being something that you do to yourself, whereas Rucken being something that can be done to someone else, although it's not exactly that. Close enough. So that's kind of where the terminology came from. And then we were specifically looking at the rules and trying to understand, as they fit everything in, how things like the Krumpau, how the Ausnehmen, how various short edge actions, especially beat actions, occur within the system. There's not really a term for it. And then we started to look at what Meyer was telling us here specifically, and basically came to the conclusion that Rucken or Rucken is a short edge beat, right? Now, in the video that I did, I basically said that, oh, okay, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to not use just my tip to do an Ausnehmen, but I'm going to come across with the whole weapon. That particular part of the interpretation is something that's just come up from how we're fencing. Having said that, I think that a Krumpau and even an Ausnehmen very likely would fall in this category. If I go and pull through and he's coming at me and I beat, with a Ausnehmen style, taking out of the blade a short edge strike, I think it falls into this category. Particular to the Rucken, and some of the areas that I think we're seeing them happen a lot, is Meyer uses them against people that have extended, right? So that they've extended the weapon out in front of them. They're nice and long with it, and this gives us an opportunity to deliver a beat onto their sword, or in the staff in particular, right? Where he's got to play where the person has been enticed to thrust during a series of disengages, and as they thrust long, that's where he's going to come in the short edge beat, so that he can then come in with a long edge strike to the face. It ends up being kind of a set of actions where I come to gain the overbind, they change through, I go and change back, they extend their thrust long at me, so I strike the short edge out of the way with a downwards beat, and then follow through with a long edge strike to the face. That's really, kind of what we're looking at for the Rucken. Having said that, there is absolutely something to be said for the action as part of a Zucken, where when I pull the sword back off and I extend it back in, that I come on first with the short edge and then wind the long into it, so that I pull, I extend and beat in time, right? And have my thing fall apart on me. And yes, I know I need to put a screw in it so that it doesn't do that. It's okay, right? So pull, extend, beat, and turn at the same time is an action that when we get specifically to the poem, we'll spend a little more time with. But just a little something, guys, to throw out there, a little added extra, if you will, to clarify that issue. And as always, if you're enjoying the videos, hit that like button, subscribe to us, also while you're at it. And help us grow the channel. Tell your friends about it. Share us on Facebook. We appreciate it, guys. Keep it safe in your training. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.